It can't be an easy feat when it comes to reinventing a beloved franchise, whether it be working in core elements previously used throughout, or also at the same time attempting to overhaul some of its most jarring flaws. But I'm happy to say that all of Sony Santa Monica's hard work has amazingly managed to bring the God of War series to new heights. Undoubtedly, the biggest change to come to God of War is its setting. Gone is the ultra-violent and chaotic world of the Greek pantheon, with Kratos having found his way to the realm of Midgard. But it's so much more than just swapping out for a new setting, as we get to see a side to Kratos that goes way beyond the kill first, ask questions later motif that we've seen from the fallen demigod time and time again. To paraphrase the developers, it's not a story about the Hulk but of Bruce Banner. And the new God of War managed to deliver in spades, with a fresh look at one of video game's darkest protagonists by stripping him of his need for violence and revenge and replacing it with a story about a man looking for purpose, which he seeks to find through his son Atreus. On the surface, it may seem like a simple journey to scatter the ashes of a departed loved one. It very much becomes a coming of age tale for Atreus, but also a tale of redemption for Kratos. His willingness to teach Atreus the way of the warrior is balanced out greatly by his determination to make sure his son doesn't make the same rash mistakes he himself made over his lifetime. I was honestly surprised at just how engaging conversations could get between the wide-eyed and talkative Atreus and the more serious and passive Kratos. Whether it be Kratos passing along harsh but strong morals to his son, or just the two bonding over their shared loss, making even the calmer moments between the two just as memorable as those where the action intensity really heat up. The new Norse setting may at first glance seem like a bit of an excuse to continue Kratos' adventures of slaying both beasts and gods alike, but it honestly feels like a new evolution for the series. Many of the locations you'll uncover come much of the same epic scale and weight to them as previous entries, however there's more of a natural and desolated vibe to them, helping to differentiate the two settings and fit in well with the tone the game is hoping to capture this time. And though the game may take some creative liberties with some of its source material, I would often stop just to hear every minute detail about the history of the Nine Realms and those key figures who made the world what it is now. The creative direction and how the story is presented is also one of God of War's biggest strengths. The use of keeping a continuous camera locked to our protagonists throughout the game adds so much to how we feel a part of their journey. And what a journey it is, with gorgeously detailed locations spread throughout, charismatic characters with intense performances, along with an emotional yet booming soundtrack to top it off with. If there was but one complaint I could give the story, it's of how its third act can occasionally feel a bit like padding at times, but even then I was still enthralled by what the game had to offer me, and I was continuously surprised right to the very end. Although the new God of War story may take a hard right from what fans are used to, the combat is where many can find their footing the best. Rather than the wide, constantly changing camera angles from before, fights are viewed more up close and personal this time, which at first you might think lessens much of the spectacle the series is best known for, but thanks to the smoothness and prowess that comes with wielding the almighty Leviathan axe, you'll find the action to be beyond pleasurable. Everything from launching the axe for it to return with ease, to pulverizing foes with your bare knuckles, to performing brutal takedowns makes combat incredibly satisfying for hours end. And the inclusion of RPG-like customization only adds to this, with new skills available to unlock through XP earned, as well as armor sets and runes to pick from, along with dazzling special attacks that you'll be swapping out for constantly. Of course, you're not alone in these fights, as Atreus can lend a hand by stunning and distracting foes for you, as well as occasionally interacting with Kratos' attacks now and then. Enemies come in a range of different Norse-related creatures, each possessing their own strengths and weaknesses, which you'll come to learn how to exploit more and more as time goes on. Be warned though that not every fight can be won as simply as you may think, with some even prompting you to return later when the odds are more aligned in your favour. Although the world is certainly not as open as other games of this genre that spring to mind, there's still a good amount of side activities for you to discover, many allowing you to reap big rewards that can help in improving you for future confrontations, with some quests even managing to work their way into the character's more interpersonal conflicts. Puzzles can also be found scattered about, many of which require you to utilise powers that you'll come to obtain over the course of the game. While there is a decent amount of fun to be had here and they do help change things up, it's a shame how often some ideas can feel recycled, the most common being searching for objects displaying runes so as to unlock special chests. The open world also provides a number of hidden tasks well suited for those who wish to continue on post-game, one of which very much akin to the challenge towers from past games. To say the steps taken to radically change Kratos and his story had won me over would be an understatement. The feeling of how humongous this game comes off in my mind is not from how it handles one element best, but from how it manages to collectively feel like everything is tied to our two heroes' development, all while bringing everything to an incredibly high standard. While it's certainly hard to determine how well diehard fans will react to some of the more abrupt changes to the series, you are still handed an incredibly well-fluid combat system, along with a deep and complex world to discover, all while following along one of gaming's most heartfelt and cinematic stories to date. Thanks for watching guys. If you happen to like this review, don't forget to like, subscribe for even more hot Coss goodness, and you can also check me out on Facebook and Twitter.